Hello, snowboarders of the internet. I'm your host, Kevin Hubb, here with a review of the Now Drive binding. So I rode these at Keystone mid-season, and it was kind of bare, hadn't really snowed in a while on my alter ego. And I wear Burton Almighty's. It's a little bit of a bulkier boot, but with the Drives Hanger 2.0 that is a little bit wider fit compared to Hanger 1.0, they did fit pretty well in that binding. Matched up well to the board. It's a little bit of a stiffer board, stiffer binding, matched up pretty good. And then kind of the cruddy conditions are actually really good for testing bindings because it allows me to really test the vibration dampening and the shock absorbing nature of the binding. So good conditions to test them in as well. So with the adjustability on Now bindings, there's not really a lot there in your traditional sense. You have your toolless bolts on your straps. So on your ankle strap and your toe strap, you got the little flip tab that pops up, spin the bolt out, get it centered, spin it back in. It does have a Phillips head to it if you do need to use a screwdriver. Honestly, other than that, standard forward lean block adjustment, that's kind of it. Where you do get a little bit of added adjustability in these that you're only going to see in Now is the pods that sit on each corner of the binding. These don't come with the extra set of pods. You can get them from Now, and they are offered in 3 durometers, so you can kind of tune in your flex and how soft it feels toe to heel with those pods. The straps on the Now Drive are of this kind of new breed of either foam or plastic injection. On the Drive, they're foam. I really like these kinds of straps, and one of the cool things about the foam straps is you have a little bit more capability to do better 3D shaping because the foam is going to hold that shape and can hold that shape in a stiffer manner than the injected plastics can. So the cool thing with that is it hugs your boot really well, it conforms across your boot really well, and you can kind of flex into it a little bit, and it's kind of a more progressive flex than you're going to get out of a lot of the more injected plastic styles, where the further you push into that, the stiffer that strap is going to feel. And as you get about halfway through compressing through that strap, it really stiffens up and it offers a ton of support. It's actually an ankle strap that I really like. On top of that, this is their Flip It variety. So super simple. They didn't really come up with a fancy marketing name for it because you can literally just take the straps, switch them between your bindings, flip them over, and you can change where the structure of that strap is hitting your boot. The standard position, it comes with more structure down low, so it allows for more freedom of movement and essentially softens up the binding. And when you flip them, it moves more of that structure up high above the ratchet and stiffens everything up laterally. The toe straps aren't great. As you may have figured out if you've watched a few of my videos, I'm not the biggest fan of very 3D shaped toe straps. There's a lot of different toe box shapes out there, so doing a 3D shaped toe strap, honestly, more often than not, just gets in the way, and that's kind of the case with these. I've never really had any drastic issues with them not working great. I did, however, just like the ankle straps, I flipped them. Now, this isn't something that Now actually markets, but I tried it just to see what would happen, and they did end up staying on my boot a little bit better. Now, I am also in an 8, so I'm on the smaller end of the spectrum for these frames, and that definitely makes a difference. So if you're in more of that middle size range or towards the higher end size range of that binding, you're probably not going to have any issues. If you are on the smaller end of the size range and you're having trouble with these straps, flip them. It made a difference for me. Ratchets on pretty much most of the Now bindings are pretty average. I've never really had any issues with them. They do their job. They do it well, as good as anything else out there, and that's kind of all there really is to say about the Now ratchets. So the Highback on these is a little bit of that taller range. Jeremy Jones is a big mountain rider. He needs a supportive Highback. It's stiffer, and the other kind of cool thing I really like about these Highbacks is it does have a micro wing on the outside of the binding. Generally speaking, I do actually prefer the wings to be on the inside. I actually think that makes way more sense. It allows you to center flex the board better, get in the middle part of your side cut. However, when you're out riding really steep, gnarly lines, having that outside support, especially on your back leg, makes a big difference. And as you're flexing into that and flexing through that, when you're driving your weight all the way towards your tail, being able to have that micro wing back there to keep that Highback behind you as it twists around your boot makes a big difference in the support game. So I actually really like these Highbacks for a stiffer, more aggressive Highback. They're definitely up there on my list. With the carbon nylon post that goes underneath the binding, the stiffer frame, and the more aggressive, taller, stiffer Highback, this definitely lands as your more aggressive all-mountain or free ride binding. That's where Now markets it. It lands there perfectly. The feel on these is skate tech. That is the key to the feel of basically every Now binding out there. Now, I've never really quite understood why they feel like they have to connect it to skateboarding. They call it a kingpin, and realistically, I think it works too functionally different than an actual skate truck kingpin to really call it that, but hey, you know what? You can do what you want. And outside of that, it works great, and I think it's actually one of the few technologies out there in snowboard bindings that makes things feel different and actually works and is not just a gimmick. Basically, that post where you sit your disc inside the binding mounted to your board, that's what you're really driving through. And as you're rocking forward in that binding, you're pushing pressure down on top of the pods and then pulling up on the hanger. So it redistributes the force and how all that's getting down into your board and makes it more efficient. And the toe and to heel response is definitely increased, and it rides everything smoother because the bushings that sit underneath your toes and heels dampen. They're rubber, so they soak stuff up, they ride really smooth. Overall, the hanger feel of it is awesome. It's a really cool technology that I really like. Now basically markets this binding towards people that want to ride like Jeremy Jones. What do you know? So free ride binding, stiffer, more aggressive all mountain even, and they nail it. It basically lands exactly there. Overall, this is a binding I like. Of free ride bindings out there, this is definitely up there on my list. It's good, it's comfortable, it does what it's supposed to, and it does it well. It's definitely something I recommend if you're looking for that stiff, aggressive free ride binding. Thanks for watching. I've been your host. This has been my review of the Now Drive by Jeremy Jones. What did you think? Have you been riding this binding? Did I get it right? Am I way off? Leave me a comment. While you're leaving that comment, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and make sure you've hit the bell so you get notifications when this stuff is coming out. If you're new around here, check out Angry Snowboarder VIP. It is the best way to support us, keep these reviews and other projects coming to you. Come back and see me in the next review.